Thanks for that top five, Chris, and thank you for making the Weather Network a part of your weekend. Michelle Mackey joining you with your forecast for Ontario. We are dealing with high pressure in place. The temperatures, yes, they were cold on Saturday, but certainly not as cold as what we dealt with last week. It actually felt pretty nice in comparison. But I do want to mention we have had 35 consecutive days in Toronto where the temperature has not gone above 0 degrees. That makes it January 24th, the last time we've had cold this February. We've actually seen significant freezing over the Great Lakes. I mean, this is a lot to do with the past month. And when we compare the total ice cover through the Great Lakes in comparison to where we were last year, we're quite higher. Total ice cover, 86%. Last year at the same time, 80%. Now, because a lot of the lakes are getting covered over, particularly through the north, we're having less lake effect snow, but we do have some system snow moving in for Sunday. Temperatures also bumping up. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Widespread, we're looking at trace amounts, but you know, Sunday, if you had any travel plans, it doesn't take much for the roads to slow down, does it? That system will track east, clear out by your Monday. But Sunday morning, the temperatures, yeah, they're still going to be cold, but moving into the afternoon hours, not quite as bad. The wind chills particularly nowhere close to those minus double digits that we saw last week, only feeling like -8 in the city of Toronto. Not bad, right? Now, our next big story that we're tracking is a big system moving into play on Tuesday. We'll have much more information about that throughout the hour. You know, I think that top five exemplifies why so many people are fascinated by weather. Thank you so much for tuning into the Weather Network. Michelle Mackey joining you with your forecast for Ontario. High pressure still in place over the province. It was a clear day, but it was cold. In fact, so cold, did you know we've had 35 consecutive days in the city of Toronto where we haven't topped 0 degrees. It's been a frigid February. Are you ready for spring? Me too. Yep, you know, Sunday is the start of meteorological spring, so we are getting there. Here's what we're dealing with. Great Lakes ice cover. We're about 86% covered with ice. A lot of this freezing happened in the past month. Now, as we head into March the 1st, this Sunday, we are dealing with widespread snow through southern Ontario. We have a system tracking to the south, and it's just skirting by, bringing us generally less than 3 centimeters of snow. The higher amounts of snow are going to remain stateside. But the good news, yes, the temperatures will be cold in the morning. You can see the wind chills into the minus teens, but in the afternoon, we are going to see a nice -3 in the city of Toronto. Okay, it's still below 0, yes, but much nicer than those extremely cold temperatures that we had last week, right? Now, our next big story that we're dealing with is something coming on Tuesday. I'm going to play out this movie. There's your energy that tracks to the south on Sunday. High pressure, cold back in play for Monday. And then we have a phasing of systems over Ontario Tuesday, Wednesday. A big weather maker. We are tracking that here on the Weather Network. Stay with us. And we premiere new time-lapse videos every Tuesday, but we wanted to show you that one in particular because across the country this weekend, much of Canada does have the chance to see the northern lights. You can see all of the areas in green. If you were in any of those, get outside during the night, look up, and you could very well see one of the natural wonders of the world. Speaking of natural wonders, sun, and that is a trend that is going to continue into Sunday and into much of the work and school week. Sunday morning, here's what we can expect in the west. 4 degrees in Nanaimo. Look at all of that sun across the Rockies. It is going to be a bit of a chilly morning in Calgary, but we will see a nice rebound in the temperatures above 0 through much of southern Alberta. Now, because we've had not much in the way of precipitation through the west, we do have a low avalanche danger rating, so it will be a good day on Sunday to get up, hit the slopes, but we are dealing with some snow associated with a weak clipper through the foothills and into Saskatchewan. You can see generally we're looking at less than 3 centimeters of snow, and this will be quite light throughout the day with breaks in between. In terms of your wind chills, Sunday morning, they are quite frigid, but not as frigid in the afternoon. And I use that term lightly. We are still below seasonal, but certainly not as cold as the temperatures that we saw last week. And that's a similar story as we head into southern Ontario. Sunday morning, wind chills into the minus teens. But again, this isn't extreme cold warning criteria by any means. We do have the chance of seeing some snow on Monday along with those warming temperatures, but generally less than about 3 centimeters. Wondering what we're developing here at the Weather Network? That's up next. It's the weekend. Michelle Mackey joining you with a look at our developing stories that we're working on here at the Weather Network. The llama drama, we've got some fun video on that coming right up. Also, the dress that nearly broke the internet. And when is spring? Will it ever be here? Okay, well, I'll let you know when our spring outlook is anyways. All right, let's begin our story in Phoenix, Arizona. And I am pleased to announce some very exciting news. We do have the very llamas right here in the Weather Network. Nope, we don't have those llamas here. Okay, getting a little camera shy. Next up, the dress that nearly broke the internet. What color do you see here? Blue or black or white and gold? I see white and gold, but it's all about the perception. A lot of people see blue and black, and it sparked widespread debate on the internet and even here at the Weather Network. Behind the scenes, we spent a lot of time this week debating this very issue. Even our very own Chris St. Clair was getting in on the fun. And then I found this note left for me in the green room, which I take as a threat. Hi, Michelle, it says with a nice little smiley face, but then the threat, the dress is blue. Okay, in the end, the dress actually was blue, but nonetheless, I still see the white. But I think we can all agree we did see blues across the country on Saturday. These were our high temperatures from the day. You can see really warm in the west still. Seasonal and sunny for Vancouver, and that's going to continue as we head throughout the work and school week. Meanwhile, the temperatures slowly warming up through central Canada, including Ontario. A much nicer feel, if you will, than those frigid temperatures that we felt through central and eastern Canada over the past week. Now, we are dealing with snow as we look through Monday morning. Through our prairie provinces, we have a weak clipper moving through, bringing with it widespread, less than 3 centimeters, higher amounts through the foothills. That's due to some upsloping, pretty common this time of year. Now, we do have some energy skirting past southern Ontario Sunday into Monday morning. You can see generally we're looking at trace amounts. The higher amounts kept through southwestern Ontario, places like Windsor, picking up about 3 to 7 centimeters. Now, this very same system is going to track east and intensify. So you can see as it moves into the maritime provinces, the snow amounts really begin to increase. Widespread through PEI and Nova Scotia, 7 to 15 centimeters of snow. Now, the next big story that we are tracking is a phasing of systems. We have a clipper, we have a Colorado low, they phase over Ontario, track east, an active pattern set up. And you don't want to miss our spring outlook. That starts Tuesday, 6 a.m. right here on the Weather Network. It's the weekend. Thanks so much for that top 5 by Chris St. Clair. I'm Michelle Mackey joining you with your national forecast. Not much going on across the country in terms of active weather right now. We are watching this low coming from Colorado. That's going to be a big weather maker into next week. More on that in a moment, but first we take you to Toronto, Ontario. So yeah, it's been pretty cold. So cold that we are in 3rd place for the most consecutive days without topping off 0 degrees through the city of Toronto. And we are going to see the temperatures rise slightly as we move into Sunday. But the price we pay for that in Ontario, we are dealing with some snow. Generally looking at moderate amounts, the higher amounts are going to remain stateside. As this energy tracks further to the east, it's going to be a big weather maker for Atlantic Canada. But temperatures Sunday morning through southern Ontario, well, they're still going to be somewhat cold. The wind chills, the feels like temperatures into the minus teens. But when we compare it with those temperatures last week, much nicer. Into Quebec, clear, high pressure in place, but again, still quite cold, feeling like minus 17 through Montreal. And in ages. But it's not going to last long. And we are dealing with significant snowfall amounts on the ground. Charlottetown, for example, 123 centimeters of snow on the ground. Weather, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Michelle Mackey joining you. Thanks for making the Weather Network a part of your weekend. Taking a look at your forecast across Canada, not much going on in terms of active weather. We do have a weak cold front sliding through the prairies, bringing us some light flurries. The big story is this Colorado low that's going to intensify as it moves towards eastern Canada throughout the week. Let's begin our weather story, though, in Ancaster. Climb the falls, unfortunately. Yeah, it was a little bit slippery, as you can imagine, but nonetheless, one of the best ways to enjoy winter get outside and embrace it, especially when we've had such a frigid February. Now, the temperatures are going to rise slightly as we move into Sunday. That's the good news. Maybe the not so good news, if you had any Sunday travel plans, we are looking at widespread snow through southern Ontario. Trace amounts, but you know what? It really doesn't take much to slow the roads down. We do have the highway conditions on the 10s here at the Weather Network, so you can check in with that. In terms of your temperatures through the morning, it is going to be quite cold, and southern Ontario, southwestern Ontario, Windsor, you'll be getting into those flurries through the pre-dawn hours. Further to the east into Quebec, high pressure is in place. We remain frigid and clear. We could see some flurries skirt through southern Quebec as part of the same system as we move into Monday morning. Now, here's a look at the snow on the ground that we have through Atlantic Canada. This is significant, above seasonal. Coming up next, the things you need to know from across Canada with Kim McDonald.